Okay, in this video we're looking at Chapter 10, Section 2, and we're talking about complementary and supplementary angles. Okay, so there is a special relationship that exists between two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. And of course, I jumped right into it, but you know you have the St. James heading at the top, and we're doing Chapter 10, Section 2, so you underline that, and the underline complementary and supplementary angles. Okay, this makes you have all that underlined nice and neat. And back to what I said, there is a special relationship for angles that when you add them together, sum means add. When you add them together, they equal 90 degrees. And then there's a special relationship that also exists between two angles whose sum means add. When you add them together, you get 180 degrees. Okay? So this special relationship, one is called complementary angles. Two angles are complementary if the sum of their measures is 90 degrees. Complementary is 90 degrees. 90 degrees, okay? And then the other special relationship is supplementary angles. Two angles are supplementary if the sum of their measures is 180 degrees. And people go, well, how do I keep track of them? How do I remember complementary is 90 and supplementary is 180? Well, this is the trick that I tell my students, that complementary starts with a C, and that comes first. So that will be 90 degrees because that comes first. And supplementary is an S, and that comes after C. So 180 degrees comes after 90 degrees. So C, complementary, goes with the 90 degrees because C comes first in the alphabet before S, which equals 180 degrees. S is supplementary angles, and that equals 180 degrees. So I look at it as the alphabet. C comes first, so complementary goes with 90 degrees. Supplementary comes after C in the alphabet, and 180 degrees comes after 90 degrees. So that might help. Okay, so now, for example, when it says add, I have two different angles here. And it's two different examples. Complementary angles is when two angles, you add them together and they get 90 degrees. So here is the 90 degree shape, and what you can see is you have this 60 degree angle, and if you add that together with the 30 degree angle, you get 90 degrees. So you have 60 degrees plus 30 degrees equals 90 degrees. So these two angles are complementary. Okay, they are complementary because 30 plus 60 is 90, and that's a 90 degree angle. They're complementary. They add up to 90 degrees. Or you could look at it as 90. We know complementary has to equal 90. 90 minus the 60 degrees gives you one of them, the 30 degree angle. You could look at it either way. Okay, here's supplementary angles, and you know that this has to equal 180, the straight line. So you have 135 degrees plus 45 degrees gives you 180 degrees. Or you could look at it as, well, if I start out with 180 degrees, because that's the straight line, and I subtract 135 degrees, you will get the other angle of 45 degrees. Okay, so when they add up together, this addition, when they add together and they equal 180, that means they are supplementary angles. Okay, now let's identify these angles. So I'm giving you some pair of angles here, and I want you to identify if the angles are complementary, supplementary, or neither. Maybe they don't fit either of those categories. Okay, so here I have the straight line, and I know that has to equal 180 degrees. So what I want to say is, okay, 158 degrees plus 22 degrees, does that give me 180 degrees? Well, let's see. 8 and 2 is 0. 5 and 6 is, 5 and 2 is 7 plus the 1 is 8. Yep. So these pair of angles here, the 22 degrees and the 58 degrees, are supplementary. So we write that down, supplementary angles. Okay, and then This one over here, this one is not neatly matched together, but let's see. I have 85 degrees plus 15 degrees. Does that give me either 90 or 180? I'm only looking for those two. It has to equal 90 or 180 to be one of these categories. Well, 5 and 5 is 10. You have 8 and 1 is 9. This equals 100 degrees, so that's neither. Neither. They are not. It doesn't add up to be complementary, which is 90, or supplementary, which is 180. So that's neither. They are neither of those two categories, supplementary or complementary angles. Okay, and now we have this pair here, 128 and 52. Let's add them up and see what they equal to be. 128 plus 52. Okay, 8 and 2 is 10. And 5 and 2 or 7 plus the 1 is 8. Okay, so this equals to 180 degrees, so they are supplementary angles. Yes, you're writing everything down, every single thing. By chapter 10, you should not have to be told that. Okay, so you can see we can have supplementary angles that kind of are laid next to each other, or you can have supplementary angles that aren't pictured right next to each other, but they still add up to be 180 degrees. Okay, so they're still supplementary angles. And now this pair here is a little different. Let's see. Let's see what they add up to be. We have 55 degrees plus 35 degrees. Yes, you're writing this problem down so you can see how you got your answer. 5 plus 5 is 10. 5 plus 3 is 8, plus 1 more, 90. So here we actually have a complementary angles. Complementary angles. Okay, so yes, you write the problem down, how we figured it out, and you label them because we're identifying the pair of angles. Okay, now let's say I give you problems like I have here, and I'm trying to find a missing angle, a missing measurement. Okay, so the first problem here, yes, you're writing it down. You have one angle that's 130 degrees. So how do I figure out what x would be? How do I tackle that? Well, I'm going to say to myself, I know that going straight across this blue line here has to be what? I know this for a fact from last section that this straight across this blue line, which is not drawn straight, it's a little bit crooked, has to equal what? Has to equal 180 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract the 130 degrees to figure out x. Okay? That makes sense because I want to solve and figure out what is x. It's supposed to say equal. Okay, so 180 minus 130 gives us what? X equals what? 50. X equals 50. So that means this is 50 degrees. And that makes sense because then it equals to be a straight line. And this pair here is supplementary because it equals 180 degrees. Supplementary. Yes, you're writing everything down. Okay, this one here, number 2. Now, here, since I see a huge important indicator, this identifies this whole angle added up is going to have to equal what? It's going to have to equal what? That little indicator tells me what? That both those angles together better equal 90 degrees. So, to find out what x is, I have to do 90 degrees minus 58 degrees, and it'll give me x. And it'll give me x. Okay, so 90 minus 58 is what? Okay, I'll do on the side here because some people need to see this. Okay, we subtract, you have to borrow. Okay, you make that into a 10, so you get x to equal 32 degrees. And since these angles equal to 90 degrees, this pair or these angles are complementary because they equal 90 degrees. Complementary. Okay, so this is 90 degrees. Oh, not 90, sorry, 32 degrees right here. This is 32 degrees right there. this spot, and that's 58. So together, that's where you get this 190, I mean this 90 degrees, not 190, but just 90. Now, I give you a little bit more, kind of kick it up a notch. I like when we kick it up a notch. Here, I broke up this straight line into kind of like 3 different pie pieces, or pizza slices, if you will. So I know this is 180 degrees. And then I broke it up and I say, okay, find x. What is this measurement just right here? Well, we know it has to equal 180 degrees, so I could look at it this way. I could add up 80 plus x plus 25 to get 180 degrees. So I could do it this way. Okay, 80 plus 25 gives me 105 degrees plus x equals 180 degrees. So what I did was I added this angle and this angle. I added them together to get 105 degrees. Okay, then I said, okay, now I just need to figure out x. What I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 105 from this side, subtract 105 from this side. So I get, I'm running into my own problem. Okay, so I get x equals what? What does x have to be for everything to equal 180 degrees? Okay, I have to borrow. Make that a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 7 minus 0 is 7. And then 1 minus 1 is 1. So x equals 75 degrees. X equals 75 degrees. Okay? Because we needed all of those angles, those 3 angles, this angle here, the red angle, and the green angle, all this had to equal 180 degrees. So you could do it 2 different ways. You could look at it as 180 degrees minus 80 degrees minus 25 degrees would equal x. I just like to add the 2 angles and then subtract it from 180 degrees. You can do it either way. Doesn't bother me. Okay, so problem for next class. So, well, there's 2 actually, so problems. Nope, I lied. There's 3. Okay, problems. There we go. For next class, you have your angle here. It's broken up just like we did with the problem before. And I want you to find the m. Okay, so this means find the measure. Yes, you're writing everything down. Find the measure of angle DAE. So measure DAE. Okay, what is this? What's that measurement right there? That goes right here. Okay, and it's drawn for you. It says it. This, I'm helping you out. I'm doing the first one with you. The measurement for angle D, yes, write all this down, AE equals 75 degrees. Because it's written right there. Okay, then you need to find the measure. Find M means find the measure. The measurement, find the measurement, really, find the measurement of angle DAC. So we look back up and we see DAC. So I want just this angle. So now you need to figure out that angle right there. And we use the same process we just used above to figure that out. And then the last problem, I want you to find the measurement of angle EAB, So that's here, EAB. Did you find this measurement right there? Okay, not tricky, just a matter of paying attention. And I will see you next class.